Hello, hello. I'm Pretty Bird.
And I am Sweet Pea.
And together we are Pretty Sweet. Welcome to Pretty Sweet Distractions, where we speak about life, love, poetry, and prowess, and it's always unfiltered. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the distractions in the form of open discussions on artful words. Now, we do have a few little rules. We are grown up people talking about grown up things using all the grown up words. If you're easily offended, this may not be your bouncing tea bag, cup of tea, or whatever floats your boat. We like to have fun, poke fun, and generally have a great time. So if you're down to be distracted, come hang out, chat, call, like, follow, share, leave your opinions on our opinions, click all the hearts, and show us some love. We have live streams every Tuesday and Thursday at 10 p.m. Eastern. Now you can listen to us live on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. And you can join us live by joining our Pretty Sweet Distractions group on allpoetry.com. So tonight it is penned by the ghost of her pain. And I will get to my blurb in about half a second because I am slow today. So, everyone needs a safe place to purge pain, a place without outside judgment. For some, it's sports, for others, art. Then there are poets. It's the beauty of words that weave the tapestry of the human condition. This is a safe place to purge in the whispers and screams of beautiful words. So I don't know if you know many writers or poets in particular. I mean, you're here, so I'm assuming poetry is a thing. Um, Poetry is one of the quickest forms to, or it's one of the quickest ways to engage full depth emotion because poets tend to take a moment of sharp emotion, whether it's good or bad, and put it into this flourish of words that um, pulls you into your own experiences, or at least it has the ability to do that. Obviously, not every poem is going to touch everybody the same exact way, but words are impactful. And when we're feeling alone or like we're the only ones who understand what it is we're going through and you read something that just taps in, it's magic. It can release things that are locked in. It can keep you company, kind of like music, at least for me. I'm not everybody's the same, but if I am in a mood, I have got my mood music. I've got my grumpy mood music. I've got my sad mood music. I've got my um self-deprecating mood music, which isn't that the songs are self-deprecating, but they just keep me company in that headspace. And it's not just the lyrics, which are, poetry themselves. It's also the music, but poetry makes you long for things. There are love poems that can make you swoon, that make you want to be loved the way whoever wrote those words loved whoever they were talking about. It gives you a baseline of emotion that you long for or that you don't, because it'll go both ways. And I find it to be just magical. It is a beautiful thing that happens when you find yourself in the company of others through, short form poetry, more so for me than epic poetry, because that's a lot. And where it's the short form poetry, not necessarily brevities, but your one page poems, your 12 verses and done, whatever it is, that just and again, I'm just going to put a disclaimer, my bulldog is back there making all of her breath sounds. It is what it is. And so you have these words that hook you underneath your skin and mix into your emotions and tap you in and make you feel less lonely, or make it feel okay to feel that way, because obviously you're not the only one. And it's easy to feel alone in your emotions. And so when you find something that taps in with you in that shared space, even if the person who wrote it has no clue who you are and is 100 years old, it doesn't really matter. the people who read the words and engage with them emotionally, they breathe life into whatever it is that we birth. And I find that to be a beautiful, beautiful thing. Um, so, Sweet Pea, what are your thoughts on poetry and poetry and pain in particular?
But I think if I didn't have poetry, then I wouldn't know how to process pain. And I think a lot of poets do that. They process life experiences, they process things that they have seen, they have processed other people's pain that they have seen. I think being a poet is, for me, not for everybody, just for me, and I'd say this for me. Um, I see a lot of things that go on in this world, and I'm a storyteller poet, so I'll process things or tell stories through my poems. Whether it's about a horse or a dog or a person or a tragedy, and those things can affect me emotionally, and I'll put them on paper. I think it's just a form that has always been in my brain, um, and I can release it. I think it's hard to say to someone that's, you know, is very mechanical and mathematically inclined to say, well, I take what you do, but I do it through words, because I've tried to explain it and they don't actually understand it. But I can't kind of get what they're doing, where they're very creative with, you know, spreadsheets and all of that, and they really enjoy it. And thank God for them, but thank God for poets. Um, it's a way I release stress. It's a way I release anxiety. It's a way I am able to breathe. Some days is just having a way to put all of that down. Um, I don't know, how I would be able some days just to walk around and not be, totally anxious or totally angry or totally, you know, um, just on edge. But one of the things that's very important for a lot of people that they don't understand is, just because you write a poem, just because it's out there, doesn't mean it's about you. And I've had so many poets or people that read my poetry and they're like, oh my God, I didn't know you felt that way. Or I didn't know you were going through this. Or do you really feel that way about this person or that person? I'm like, no. And I write a lot of, very, oh, what would you say, horrific poetry, more on the dark side. And I've, killed people, or I've eaten children, or I've done things very Hansel and Gretel. And I obviously am not a serial killer, or I don't eat children, or things like that. So you have to take poetry sometimes with that grain of salt. And there may be pain or something behind it, but that doesn't mean it's about you personally. And sometimes that kind of annoys me. Um, when people come up to you and they think, oh, this is must be about you, and you're like, no, it's just an expression of something that I may have seen or thought about, or it's just pure imagination. So, poetry is great to release all of that and be a part of that and just be a writer and just have that creative ability. But there's definitely days where it helps me release that pain.
I mean, absolutely. And we all need an outlet. And like I mentioned before, it could be art, it could be sports, it could be whatever it is. It could be long division for the nerdiest of nerds. More power to you. I ain't that girl. But I can see where there's beauty in science and beauty in all the things, wherever you find an escape that is semi-productive and makes space in your brain to allow you to compute through your daily life. I think that it's all valid and all worth it. Um, so tonight with Penned by the Ghost of Her Pain. So that's a lyric that I pulled from some song from some TV show on freaking Amazon with a really good soundtrack. Um, but it was a lyric. I'm like, that is what we do. And the thing is, before my brain got all discombobulated with illness, um, my witching hour was about 4 o'clock in the morning, and somewhere between 3 and 5, but usually around 4 o'clock in the morning. I will. I used to get up and then, with all the clarity of a sleeping world with no noise and a brain too tired to overthink, words would just come out. They would just pour onto a page, just whatever it is, no editing, no overthinking, no nothing, no trying. And they would just go. And I would write until I was too tired to write or until it felt done. And I'd go back to sleep and I would go back and look at them. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. But then because I overthink, I'm like, where the hell did that come from? Because it's in there somewhere or it wouldn't come out. I haven't been able to do that properly in quite a while, but that's okay. So we all have these outlets, and like I said, art, music, things that are not responsibilities, things that are not expectations, things that just allow us that space to be as ugly as our ugliest feelings, as hurt as our weakest selves, and not be judged for it, and still be who we are through it all without the people we love seeing us less. Because if you're the strong one in your family, and it's why people in my real life can't read me, because they want to fix it. I'm like, nothing's broken. Well, do you really feel this way? I did at one point, you know? Well, where did this come from? Oh, well, this argument that we had like 16 years ago, and you said that one thing. Well, I woke up and that one thing was in my brain. And so I kind of unraveled it in the worst way possible. It's like, yeah, but why are you still thinking about it? I'm not thinking about it. Things pop in, they pop out, they pop. Does your brain not work that way? I don't know how to explain the fact that a lot of creative people, now I'm not going to say creatives because, listen, some controversial shit incoming. Here it goes. Just because you can think of some things, just because you can design some stuff, just because you do, and that's a creative outlet. That is wonderful. That is under the umbrella of creatives as a noun. As an adjective, it's a mindset that works on a different level, not better or worse. It's kind of a pain in the ass. I have found, and I've only found it in artsy people and people that bleed on a page, not the people who just write words so that they can say they're pretty. People who are innately drawn to music, to art, to making it, not just to it, to writing, where if they don't do it, they feel like something's lacking in their existence. So these people, and anybody here can correct me if I'm wrong, um, for the most part, we don't remember things like other people remember things. Like, we will remember something and it's not, oh, nostalgia. It is back in the day. It just now happened. Now I'm all pissed off all over again. You're going to have to give me a day to get over it because I forgave you, but now I'm all pissed off again. Or you think about it, and if you are heartbroken, you are heartbroken. Not that you want to be heartbroken, you just remember it with full depth feeling, not the shadow of a feeling, not the telling of a story, ha ha ha, funny. The full extent of emotion, good or bad. I mean, I have tried to tell stories from of something that happened to me that I can't stop laughing. I can't get through it because it was so embarrassing and so funny that you're right back in it, fully flushed. Or when you're writing something so painful that it's there and you're like, holy crap. And it's because it's rooted in honesty. Even if it was a nanosecond of pain captured in that moment, it is full this memory that we paint in words. And people are like, this is why people are like, oh my God, are you okay? Dude, you don't know me. And I appreciate people being concerned. It's not just the ones that are actually concerned. While I hope whatever this was is in the past and you push through. Yeah, I'm here if you need to talk. I'm good with that. I'm not good with assuming that everything is right now, assuming that all this stuff, and people are like, you're too pretty to be sad. The fuck do you think you are? I like that. That was the last day, by the way, that I ever had a profile pic of my actual face. I was like, never again, you suck. And so not I was a grown ass woman before I realized that not everybody remembers things that way. I mean, I just didn't. And there, and I was talking to my family. Now, okay, we're Hispanic and loud, and all six people will talk at once, and we'll have all these different side conversations, and we're perfectly fine. Except for my father was like, how do you understand anything? All I hear is noise. And I was like, well, it's a good thing we're not talking to you. Love you. And because don't interrupt. We were trying to keep track of all our shit. So here's the thing. If I'm telling a story and I was there with other people in my family, right? And I was like, this is this and that, and it affected me, and I'm getting all emotional. Um, and they're telling the story and they're just like, yeah, ha ha ha, funny, or yeah, that was so long ago, I can't even remember. Oh, I remember all the things. And I would get into my feelings. I'm like, and they're like, are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. I'm just give me a minute to get to a different memory, because I'm a little stuck in this one since you brought it up. And they're like looking at me like I'm weird. My mom was the same way I am. I don't think the rest of my family is though. And and I didn't realize that there was anything wrong with me. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but I didn't realize that memories don't work the same for everybody. So when you find an artist that paints what to some look like blobs and it makes you feel something, it's magic. When you read a poem that looks like it's just words and is boring to some people and it breaks your heart, it's magic. And I don't know that it happens for people that don't have full thickness memories. You know what I mean? Because art in any form is such an emotional medium that if you're not feeling it on some level, if you're not pushed to create, if you don't look at that blob of clay and see what it's going to be and then go at it with your whole heart, I don't understand how things become more than just pretty. How they, like you'll see a sculpture and sometimes it'll feel warm or it'll break your heart. But then you have all these pieces at like Hobby Lobby that are just like these mock-ups of whatever, and you're like, yeah, whatever, that's pretty. It'll go on a shelf. It's a vase, whatever. It's different. It's just different. And so maybe I'm crazy. I don't know. So Raconteur, what are your thoughts on the pen and pain? Now we know you have a very full hurt locker, so you are well versed with it in pen and pain.
I took your uh pronoun literally, and uh her pain. So I went that angle with it. The idea of watching someone that you love, that you care about, when they're in pain, that moves me more than anything, because there's such a dichotomy to that like, especially if you're the person that you feel caused the pain to begin with. It's like, not only is she in pain, but I'm the one that did it. Now I'm gonna kill myself. It's that kind of thing. And like you said, the idea of penning that moment, and that's really, to me, that's kind of what it is. It's a snapshot of a moment, and you're trying to convey a feeling that however fleeting it was, that you tend to relive, you know based on circumstances, like a scent reminds you of something, or a memory triggers it. So it's one of those things where, the creative process, like you explained, kind of guides you, and almost dictates, what you're going to put on the page, because it's like that. Well, that this is how it happened, and next thing you know, you're looking at it, and it's spilled out, and it's like, oh, there it is. And then you can let go of it, or if you're fortunate, you can let go of it. Some people can't, but it's just one of those things that you have a passing, or I have a passing relationship with. That I'm able to spit it out, and you know kind of, I won't say admire it, but marvel at the time traveling that affords me sometimes. So yeah, I like, the topic very, very much. it's a moving thing because it means so many things to so many people. And you know, you could write in a certain way. I feel that you know, like you say, each person's going to interpret it differently. One person's going to read it, and it's going to take them down one fork in the road, and someone else is going to read it, and it's going to take them someplace else completely different. And that's what I love about it, because you never know what you're going to get, and it means different things to different people. And you know, the people that it touches and appreciate it are the ones that are going to, you know, be drawn to it, and the ones that aren't are the ones that are going to be like, you know, poo-pooing it, and you know, I don't understand. So you know, it's not for us to explain. It's for your brain to explain. And if it doesn't, you know, mean anything to you, then you know, I don't know what to tell you.
Absolutely. And I'm some people, by the way. I don't know how to let any fucking thing go. It's there, buried in the depths of my unfortunateness all the fucking time. Oh,
Yeah,
woe is me, woe is me. But I mean, if I didn't have a good pool to pick from, I wouldn't have words. So I guess I can't really complain, can I? So, Bud, what are your thoughts? Because I know you're not just words, you're music. So I'm wondering where tonight's topic brought you, if you're able to talk. I'm getting a message. Not really. Of course, fine. When I want all the skinny on how your musical brain works. Well, whenever you're able to, just remember the question and feel free to elaborate when you have a minute. So, but Budo is here in case you're wondering who the hell I'm talking to. He will come and join us verbally when he can. And so hopefully I decided to do something that wasn't on my little addendum. I don't have an addendum, but so I'm pulling shit out of my ass as usual. Now you know how it works. Okay. So we have a lot of poems for tonight. We really, really do, which I'm loving. But I'm going to read my absolute favorite. It was also my mother's favorite. And I don't think that it was my favorite because it's her favorite. It's my favorite because I can't read it without freaking crying. It gets me every time. And it took me a while to figure out why. Because I never really analyzed why. You know, you like something, you don't like something, whatever. But um, it's because love isn't always easy. And this, when you love hard, when it's all the things, even when it's kind of an all or nothing thing sometimes, and this kind of brings you to that. It's like the I mean, for those who have ever read me, you will understand when I get through this thing. And my voice is still fixing itself, so it might sound awful, but before I'm done. This is Ad Finem by Ella Wheeler Wilcox, because my tongue ain't working tonight. And it goes like this. On the white throat of useless passion that scorched my soul with its burning breath, I clutched my hands in murderous fashion, held them close in a grip of death. For why should I fan or feed with fuel a love that showed me but blank despair? So my hold was firm, and my grasp was cruel. I meant to strangle it then and there. I thought it was dead, but with no warning, it rose from its grave last night and came and stood by my bed till early morning, and over. It spoke your name. Its throat was red where my hands had held it. It burned my brow with its scorching breath, and I knew the moment my eyes beheld it, a love like this can know no death. For just one kiss that your lips have given in the lost and beautiful past to me, I would gladly barter my hopes of heaven and all the bliss of eternity. For never a joy are the angels keeping to lay at my feet in paradise, like that into your strong arms creeping and looking into your love-lit eyes. I know, in the way that sins are reckoned, this thought is a sin of the deepest dye, but I know too, if an angel beckoned, standing close by the throne on high, and you, adown in the gates infernal, should open your loving arms and smile, I would turn my back on things supernal to lay on your breast a little while, to know for an hour you are mine completely, mine in body and soul my own, I would bear unending tortures sweetly, with not a murmur and not a moan. A lighter sin or lesser error might change through hope or fear divine, but there is no fear, and hell has no terror to change or alter a love like mine. End poem. You know, and it gets me every time because here's the thing. This is I don't want it. I don't want to love you. I have zero use for this bullshit. You know, be gone. It's like, damn it, here you are. And in those quiet midnight awakenings where it catches you off guard, where they creep into your head and you miss them dearly. And we're not talking abuse or whatever. It's just sometimes it's not the time for the bullshit. We don't all have time for the craziness of actual love. And but it's there. And when your person is your person, sometimes it's worth the suffering. And when they it's not that they forgive you for strangling, you know, the love. It's that there's nothing to forgive. They're just there because that's what love looks like. And when you're just like, I would spend eternity in hell just to hold you one more time. It is beautiful. And here's the thing why this poem gets me. It's not pretty. It's not some romantic, lovelorn, beautiful thing. This is like die, bitch, die. And you're like, all right, fine, I acquiesce. And it was never a choice. Some things choose you, you know? And sometimes when they choose you and you don't want it and you give in eventually, it's the best thing that ever happened. And now I'm going to equate this with one of my dogs because I can't help it because that's the way my brain works. So my heart dog Evie, I bought her for my niece. She was 16 weeks old. That very first night we got her, she had seizures. It was a Friday. I called the doctor. They're like, well, call us in the morning. Let's see how she is. And so I explained all the things, and they're like, bring her in on Monday because it's apparently with all the rest of her symptoms, it didn't seem as dire. So I brought her in on Monday. She needed this surgery. She needed that. So she was a sick dog. And I couldn't very well give a sick dog to as a gift. I mean, that's just not cool. So it took a couple of months to get her healthy or as healthy as she can be. And by that time, my niece was like, "She's your dog." And I was like, oh, "Fine." And which I was kind of glad for because, you know, I kind of nursed her back to health. She was my dog, and she was the best dog I've ever had. She was absolutely everything. She was the best little bulldog. And then she died, and I broke. Like, I cried harder for that dog than I cried for my mama, no lie. And here's the thing. You don't choose. You don't always
Yeah.
get to choose. You know, you really don't. Sometimes connections happen, and whether it's romantic love, whether it is, you know, your a pet that chooses you, whether it is your friends, you don't always get to choose how people infiltrate your essence, how they get into your heart, how they make you feel things that you had no intention of feeling. And then you can't imagine time without them. And then when they come at an inopportune moment, you're like, no, I did not ask for this shit. I don't have time for this shit. What the hell are you doing to me? And then you're like, all right, fine. And because things that are meant to be they tend to happen season, reason, or lifetime, whether it's now or later, eventually it, things will happen the way they need to happen. And this poem has jagged edges. this poem is like the ugly side of love. This poem is all the things we don't ever say out loud, you know? We don't sit there going, "Yeah, no, this one is gonna cause me trouble. I can't be bothered," you know? Even if you know it, you don't go and say, "Listen, ass, I don't have time for your shit. Go away." When you actually feel something, you say it to yourself. You go pros and cons. You're like, "These are the reasons why I don't have time for this nonsense." But then they're there, and you're like, "All right, I will make time for this nonsense for Pete's sake." And I love this poem because she's stubborn and in complete denial. And then she doesn't just say, "All right, fine." She is jumping into hell just to hold him one more time. And I find that to be stinking amazing because it is a hard way to love. And I don't know if y'all know me at all, but I don't love gently, And so outside, okay, and y'all feel free to jump in. So when I write love, it is not gentle. It is not kind. It's a mix of all of these things. And I've always thought it was ugly. And then you happen upon a poem that is as jagged can be. And it's magic. And this is what I mean when I say, I don't know what I was going to say because it completely just left my brain. Did that happen in slow motion too? That's not embarrassing. It's fine. But it's when I said it keeps you company. When you read a poem, it's the reader that breathes life into it. It's the reader that gives it direction. You
Yep.
process it through your own emotions, and it's almost like it's yours or meant for you or whatever it is. It keeps you company like your favorite song. And it's not always the easiest thing to sit through. Sometimes it breaks you, and the ones that touch you the most is where that beauty is. And you can't tell me that that poem was not penned by the ghost of her pain. That is all pain, and it's all love, and it's still all beautiful. And I'm gonna blame my mama because she made me all twisted because I came out just like her. I got a full set of those genes. Oh my goodness. I mean, if you guys have anything to say about it, that's fine, but I don't think we need a bunch of comments on a fancy famous poem. I mean, you can.
Oh, just your read was fabulous.
Thank you. I love that poem. It's all the things. Oh my goodness. So I was gonna start with me, but I won't start with me. I'm gonna start with Bud. And this one has an audio. So yay. Let me put this up all over the place. It's funny. I just want you to know, Bud, I absolutely appreciate you sending us the MP3 because it makes everything so much easier to get everywhere it needs to go. And so I appreciate you making the effort. It's a big stinking deal to me. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. Are you ready? Here we go.
She tells me just where to go when I'm lost, and I don't stand alone. If I'm hungry, she feeds my soul, and my life is hers to own. She looks at me and says, okay, come to me, my love. Baby, I'ma lead you to safety, navigate your heart back to me. When the times get rough and you can't go on, when the days are dark and the nights are long, navigate your heart back to me.
Oh, oh, I feel like it's freaking Christmas. I do love to be serenaded. I am just saying. I mean, we all do here. That's not a me specific thing. That's a pretty sweet specific thing. I'm just saying. So I love this. I love if I'm hungry, she feeds my soul and my life is hers to own. And it sounds amazing until you get to the chorus. And it's, I would lead you to safety, navigate your heart back to me. Because I get that your life has pulled you in a different direction for now, but just know that I am your safe harbor. And it is a longing, that, okay, so, okay, how can I've got words. They're in my head. They have not come out of my face. Give them a second to process. Oh my gosh, I'm buffering in real time. That's so embarrassing. Oh my goodness. Okay. So here's the thing. When life brings two people apart, like a romantic couple, I mean, even friends, I guess, but friends that are family, not just friends in passing. And they're like, you go and you live your best life. You go and you take those opportunities. You go and you do all the things that life is offering you. You go live your best life. I will still love you. It's different than the unfortunate, more common, how could you leave me? You're so selfish. And well, I'll just go with you. Well, how the hell am I supposed to do me if I'm dragging your ass there with me? Some things you just can't. And so there's something so amazing about loving somebody enough, I guess is where it comes from, to let them go. If you love it, let it go. If it comes back, it's yours. And it sounds like a bunch of bullshit, but here's proof. How do you step in somebody's way if you love them enough to help them be who they are meant to be, even if that, for some time at least, doesn't include you? It is beautiful and it is heartbreaking. And I love, you, um, my soul is yours. It has always been yours. You know, you are all the things, and I will always be your safe place. If you ever find yourself in need of this unconditional cushion of love and emotion. I am here in whatever faction you'll accept me. And it's beautiful, and it kind of reminds me with an extra level of, romantic love. But I have friends that I have known since I'm 10 or 13 or 20 or whatever it is, that we don't always um, cross paths. We're always in each other's kind of circle, right? But not so much in the center and the nucleus of things. But if any of them ever needed anything, or if I ever needed it, if I called any of them up at 1 o'clock in the morning, they'd be like, "What do you need?" Just like if they're like, I mean, I've driven hours. This is how long it's going to take me to get there. Let me just figure out kid logistics. I will see you in the morning, and I will drive across the state, because these are the people that are your people. These are your people that are your family, regardless of where they are and what they're doing. It doesn't have to be, I talk to you every day. It doesn't have to be, all the things. Your kids don't even have to call me auntie. I still love you, and I will be there whenever you need me, and they will be there whenever I need them. And it is one of my friends. I hadn't seen her in a few years, and I went to stop by and see her, and she had gone through some shit in the recent years, and she told me all of it, like no holds barred, all of it. And my only question to her is, well, how are you doing now? You know, making sure that she got to process all the things that needed processing. And I didn't think that there was anything weird about that, because that's just how we've been. But she's a lot like me. Not everybody knows her business. Not everybody knows all the things. She's not going to let everybody into all of the things, just like I don't let everybody into all of the things, except for apparently everybody on the internet, because sometimes I don't know how to shut my pie hole about my own crap, but we won't talk about that. Shh. And what I found interesting was she made a joke about something that she told me, and her husband froze, was like, "Did you tell her everything?" She's like, "Yeah, everything." But everything? And she's like, "Yes, every damn thing." And I'm just like, "Okay, and?" Because she goes, "Yeah, she doesn't judge me." I was like, "No, that's what love looks like." And and it never occurred to me to judge anybody for anything. You know, it never occurred to me to take somebody's um broken moments and be like, "Oh, is that who you are?" Because that's what you do to people you don't really like. That passive aggressive bullshit is meant for people that you don't let in, right? And this absolutely feels like that to me. Like there is never a judgment. There is never a thing. And I'm gonna well, you said it on the air, sweet, so I'm just gonna say it out loud. Um, okay, so I love me some sweet pea, just so that y'all know. If you haven't noticed, I do. But I'm
Aw.
a little straightforward. I'm a little, listen, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And the amount of times, sweet, that you said, "I just don't wanna let you down," and how many times have I answered? It's always the same. "Well, you can't, well, that can't happen. It's not gonna happen." I don't judge things that way. I'm like, "Okay, well, let's do this. Let's do that. Let's work through this. Let's get through that. Let's fix this. Let's learn that." All the things to because it's a non-issue for me. And I get that sometimes that there's a worry, because we all have our own unfortunate circumstances, that the older you are, the more shit builds up, is all I'm saying. Believe me, you've heard some of my shit. It's not pretty. But this feels like that to me. I'm not saying that I'm just this great, woohoo, but I don't judge my people. I mean, okay, that's not true. Let me put it this way. I will judge you to your face and make fun of you if it's funny, because again, my people get it, because I expect the same, no less. But we don't judge anybody by their mistakes, by their worst anything. We judge them by who we know them to be for us. And when there's love there, it doesn't just disappear. It doesn't go away. And this is what I will never understand. I don't understand. Oh, well, I love them, but now I hate them. I was like, you can hate them all you want to, but that's pain. Because if you loved them, actually loved them, you're going to hate yourself more because you're still going to give a shit, even if you don't ever want to talk to them again. You can be mad at them and still give a shit if they die, you know? But I know so many people that are like, good riddance. I hope you get hit by a car. Oh, do not bring the bad juju into the mix. That is not okay, you know? And so this has all the softness that is the opposite of that. This is all of the encouragement and all of the love and all of the acceptance despite the longing that is so beautiful to me. And it's set to freaking music, so it's all the things. And so it is lovely. I know I went all kinds of sideways, but that's kind of what I do apparently. So Sweet Pea, your thoughts?
Well, uh, first off, I love the way Bud sings. So that's always just, I get lost in the melody and his voice. So that's one thing, just so you know. And I love she tells me just where to go when I'm lost and I don't know. And maybe I will lead you to safety, navigate your heart back to me. You know, she looks at me and says, okay, come to me, my love. And when the days are dark and the nights are long, navigate your heart back to me. So it's kind of a pleading, it's kind of a love, it's kind of, all of those many things. But if you're hungry, she feeds my soul and my life is hers to own. So it's kind of mutual. She keeps you warm. It's kind of that love that's there whenever you need it. It's that security blanket. It's that one thing that you need when you are lost. It's that comfort zone. It's like chicken noodle soup when you're kind of sick. And
Miso soup.
it's just, that that thing we always want to rely on. And sometimes people just aren't reliable and they're not always there for you. And this sounds like the person that's always going to be there for you. And it's comforting and it's everything that I think a love song should be. And I really, really enjoy it. So, Raconteur, your thoughts?
We love you too, bud. This speaks to me of what people what it's supposed to mean when someone says unconditional love. There's no ifs or anything. If you love someone, you want them to be happy. If you want them to be happy, it doesn't matter if it doesn't fit your plan. It's whatever you need to be happy. I got you back. I may not like it. It may not involve me even, but you know what? As long as you're happy, I'm good with it because that's all I want to do is see you happy. So, that's the idea of someone that really understands. I think what it is to give your heart away, and 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 literally give it away. There's no strings. There's no conditions. It's just I can't help it. It's yours. It's if you look on the bottom, your initials are there. It's one of those things you can't avoid. And I really appreciate the way that you arranged this. The music was a great choice. It had notes of I almost want to say Beatles, but a lot of classical. It reminded me of a lot of popular songs. My mind went 80s and 90s, so that's the year that I was most musical, I guess. But you know, so that was what kind of ran through my head. I really enjoyed it.
Loverly Sweet Pea, I put Phil the Poet on the board. And I would like you, if you don't mind, to start with his what he wrote to in his AN, because I think that would be a lovely lead in. So if you guys click the link to the poem whenever you are listening to this, wherever you are out there, his It is linked to his YouTube page where he has an audio file that is going to have his very distinct, very low, very lovely voice. But we are going to read it here today. So whenever you are ready, sweet.
So the quote he is writing to is, "Every man has his secret sorrows, which the world knows not, and oftentimes we call a man cold when he is only sad." Such sweet sorrow, gazing into the blackness of my coffee cup, contemplating on such sweet sorrows, running through the rain clouds of my brain, seeping forth from the water gates. Sorrow makes me feel so alone, but it's the only thing that I can understand how it feels to be like me right now. As the tear swims in my coffee cup, shut myself away from society. They don't want to see a grown man cry. Why should I worry about that when they have their own cocoons to live in? Sweet sorrow makes one bitter, envious of all the laughter, paranoid. Are they laughing at me? Are they? No answer. So I dive into my coffee cup, lose myself in my own imagination, because reality is so painfully sorrowful. I drink the last dredge of my coffee, leaving my sorrow to pick up the bill. And poem.
I kind of love how it's coffee and not three fingers of whiskey, you know? Because usually it's hit me again, barkeep. And people drink alone when they are feeling some kind of way. And I love how this is coffee because coffee to me is kind of indicative of mornings. And when you're sad and you're alone and you don't really notice, and then there's laughing, then you're like, oh, are they looking at me? Because, and pardon me for going sideways, because boys don't cry, and my went full on da 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 da. Yeah, that's supposed to be the Cure, whatever. And because it took me way back, and this breaks my heart because now, for older generations, not the younglings, because we got all of the full unfortunate gender roles that society wrenches upon people, right? And so the younger generations are a lot softer. And my feelings are worth it. Yeah, but sometimes shut your pie hole, because then your feelings aren't always everybody else's business. So this is pre that. This is fully ensconced, and I am a grown ass man. Okay. And I'm going to sit here quiet, and they think that I'm quiet. And really, I just don't have anything to say, because if I have to try to people right now, I'm going to blubber. And maybe not so extreme, but kind of. And I love that. I love that the quote is, uh, we're cold, but really we're just sad. And there's something about that is heartbreakingly beautiful. And it's true. We call men assholes just as often as men call women bitches. One, when the women speak their mind and they actually have an opinion that they're going to stand by, and the guys, because they can't always properly articulate their emotions. And it's one thing if you're going to go to the gym and work it out because you can't find words. It's another thing if you're going to yell like an idiot or break something, or put a fist through a wall. Not that you're going to hit anybody, but it's a hard thing for a generation of men that were not taught how to openly emote when it was frowned upon through childhood. It's a hard thing to come to terms with as an adult. Now, especially out in public, there are many men that have their person that they can be all their feelings with. And that's, I'm not diminishing any of that, because that is what we all want. That's what we're all looking for, to never be judged by our worst day, that even if we're angry, you're going to show up in crisis and do all the things. It's it's like when you're mad at your spouse, but you still fix them lunch because you fixed the kids' lunch, and so you're still gonna give them lunch, but maybe you'll only give them 4 grapes instead of 15 grapes, like, "Ha ha," 'cause I know you love grapes, but you're still gonna give them the whole lunch, you know what I mean? But, when you don't have that person, or when that person isn't available, and you're stuck inside of yourself, you know? It's a hard place to be. But the middle verse here, "I shut myself away from society. They don't wanna see a grown man cry. So why should I worry about all that when they have their own cocoons to live in?" And this is true. They say you can't judge anybody because you don't know what their circumstances are. You don't know what they're going through. And not for nothing, I don't people well, I don't wanna know what everybody else is going through. You know? I'm not that nosy. I mean, I kinda am, but I'm not really not. So I love, hate the fact that he's like, they don't want to see me cry and they have their own problems because I know that place. That place is everything I feel is a burden. I will take on everybody else's emotions, but everything that I feel, I can't share it because I don't want to burden them. They're going through enough. Everybody's got their own stuff. They don't need my stuff, you know? But it's a hard place to be when you can be there for other people and not trust other people to be there for you. Oh, there's a gentleness in that lonely sadness that has or in this poem feels like it has no home because it wants to be someplace. It wants to be at the surface, but we can't allow it to live there because it's not anybody else's burden but mine. And I often, have my head right up my own ass and try to unburden people. I didn't talk to one of my closest friends for about 3 months because I went through a lot of shit, and I know that, you know, she's got her own stuff that I'm not gonna sit there. I'm like, I will wait till it kinda dies back a little bit, and then I'll backfill her. And she's just like, "What the hell is going on, woman?" I'm like, here's all the things. Well, she's like, well, shit. I'm here, right? I don't know how to let people be there for me. And this kind of feels like that. Like I don't it's not that I don't know how to. It's just I'm not going to burden them. They've each got their own. It's very kind of equally selfless, and I want to say selfish, but not really. You know what I mean? I don't know. And maybe that's just how I feel about myself because obviously everything's about me. And so that's a joke, people. And that's for the people that are listening that think I'm actually narcissistic. I'm not. It's just we connect with words through our own experiences. And this is lovely. And so I absolutely encourage everybody to go and listen to him read that on his YouTube. But Sweet Pea, you did an excellent stinking job. You really did. So what are your thoughts?
Well, I think that it's true that you can be very sad and you can be very sorrowful, but that's not what people want to hear. I mean, no one ever actually answers, "How are you today?" truthfully. Um,
Um, yeah.
okay, you do.
That's why I only have 5 friends.
Well, yeah, I'm right there in that group. But generally, most people don't. Um, because they don't want to, burden people with a lot of what's really going on. I mean, there are a few people that I tell everything that's going on to. And I count the people that I do literally on one hand. Um, there's just something about it, and you just, unfortunately, he's just got his coffee, he forgot the cookies. Um, it's, you just think to yourself and you talk to yourself and you're like, okay, are they doing this or are they not doing this? And, everybody, I love they use the word paranoid because I get that way. I get, okay, who did I piss off today? Who did I make sad? You know, who's talking about me or why did I do that or why did I do this? Oh, I really fucked up with this person. And, I really tend to be so hard on myself that I sit there by myself and go, okay, this is what I did wrong. And it's crazy to think that way, but So I just dive into my, cup of coffee. That cup of coffee listens to a lot of things. Thankfully for me, I have a dog. He listens to a lot of things. Um, but sorrow makes one bitter. And it does, because, especially I think for men, because they're not allowed to show that they're sad, or this didn't make them happy, or because they are assholes, you know, because they're supposed to be strong and they're supposed to be this. And those are old ways of thinking. But I think that carries a lot of weight even today, that they're providers and they're this and they're that, and if you don't set that conversation up first, what is the expectation you have for the man in your life, for the partner in your life? Do you just fall into those roles, or what is it? And I love his last line, leaving my sorrow to pick up the bill. There's certainly a loneliness sometimes when you're in a room full of people, even when you're sitting next to somebody that you know for a long time. Sometimes you just stop talking, and that's hard to do. So there you go. Rack, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'm with Pretty Bird. I was struck by the fact that you chose the coffee as a metaphor. I thought that was brilliant. For so many different reasons. It's coffee. First, um, I almost wanted to say, like she mentioned, the shot three fingers of whiskey. Not everybody drinks, but not everybody drinks coffee, but still, we all relate to the coffee, and the morning ritual, the idea of it, the caffeination of it, all the things attached to the idea of the coffee, I think, works so well with the idea. And then you mentioned the clouds, like the song "Clouds in My Coffee." I thought that was great too. But the feelings that you bring up, the sorrow that you're not necessarily willing to share, or at least not willing to show. Not everybody's entitled to that sometimes too, and I like that that this kind of whispers that. I mean, you want the people that you love to know what's going on, but at the same time, like everyone's saying, you don't want to burden them with it. And I think the beauty of love, especially in the context of what you're talking about, is they don't necessarily feel like it's a burden. So that they're willing to shoulder it, which is what you're doing. You're not feeling it as a burden. You're doing it anyway, even though it brings you such sorrow. So I really enjoyed this a lot. I thought this was brilliant.
I mean, I'm right there with you. So, okay. So, for those who have listened to us for a while, yeah, my brain is broken. In that I used to be able to, and I mentioned it a little bit earlier, I used to be able to just purge all my shit at 4 o'clock in the morning. It made room in my full and never ending, running nonstop brain. It gave me room to breathe. I haven't been able to do that. It's a mess. I'm a mess. It's fine. I had long COVID 6 years ago, 5 years ago, some shit. And something happened during that kind of scrambled things up. And I have not been kind of mainlined into my pen, which is unfortunate. And well, it's unfortunate. Anywho, I wrote a poem the other night, a few nights ago, and I had messaged Rack at like 1:30 in the morning. I said, "You up?" He was not. And so he hasn't read it. But I wrote this one, and I wrote one for Titus uh a few days before that. And they're the only two that I've written that like recently that feel like something. So I'm gonna read this one for tonight, and maybe later I'll read the one that I wrote for Titus. But this could, because it's not on the board, is shit for me to put on there. I don't even know why I mentioned it. Probably because I don't know. I am a glutton. Anyway, this is A Quill and a Syringe Full of Blood. Lovely, ain't it? By me, Pretty Bird. Lightheaded yesterdays, pooled drip by drip, brined in unfortunate truths, colored white by design. The engineering of trauma is treacherous. I lost words with oxygen, trading living for the possibility of a life of unknown origins. Dreams aren't born of insomnia, but crazy is. Lost mind, lost sense, illusions, delusions, but nothing is as grand as that ego wearing your name like my lipstick wears a smile. There was sweetness in vulnerability, but you use my love like armor and you wear me into battle to take the hits. You felt nothing as I bled through laughter and promises broken by choices I never made. Unexpected amber glows through stormy eyes, enveloping my wounds in the subtlety of tentative trust until I stop bleeding. Feeling me warm after nuclear winter, I was never afraid to believe as I bled through laughter and promises broken by choices I never made. Lightheaded yesterdays, pool drip by drip, brined in unfortunate truths, colored white by design. The engineering of trauma is torturous. And poem.
Oh, God. First off, there are things in this world that piss me off. And one of those things is when people think it's okay to dismiss you, completely and utterly dismiss you as if you mean nothing. And then to try and think they can manipulate you as if they can manipulate the relationship, use you, make you, literally the rock in the relationship, the person that is going to save the relationship or be the one that takes all the bullets for the relationship. And it just it annoys the crap out of me. I mean, one of the greatest sentences in here, I'm sorry, is wearing your name like my lipstick wears a smile. I love that. I think that is just an incredible line. That and where's the armor one? The one about armor, which I'm sure is in here. I just can't see it in my face right now.
Wear my love like armor.
Yeah, the language in here is so it's bitter, yet it speaks in love. It's just how was that word, justification. I always have a hard time with that. Um, because it's kind of like a betrayal, and you kind of lose your own identity in this pain. Um, Dreams aren't made of insomnia, but crazy is. I just lightheaded yesterday's pool drip by drip. I mean, I love the language in here, but I hate the premise of it because no matter what you did, it was just the narcissism of I'm going to completely ignore everything you feel and manipulate everything I feel. At least that's what I see in it. And it's definitely a pretty bird heartbreaker. So, Raconteur, your thoughts?
Uh, I love the way you pen your emotions. That they're always jagged and true and undeniable. Whether you can feel it yourself or someone that's been through it. It still touches you in ways. Um, the way that you express yourself. That I so enjoy. Um, yeah, the line about wearing your love like armor into battle that also touched me. Uh, the specific well, not specific, but the relationship between when someone yeah, someone that you care about acts like this. It's just it's very heartbreaking, like you say. And it kind of it makes me stutter. Damn you!
I hate it when she does that.
I feel like Charlie Brown's teacher. Wah, wah, wah.
Oh my goodness.
Not at all.
We'll go back to the 80s, or was that the 70s? Actually, that was probably the 60s, wasn't it? Charlie
Uh,
Brown was a long time ago. Damn it!
Oh my goodness. I do have you on the board rack, and thank you, Bud, for your kindness. It would feel weird reading that out loud, but thank you. And
his tortured confessions reminds me of an IV saline. He did your quote on lightheaded yesterday's pool, drip by drip, rhymed in unfortunate truths, colored. Reminds me of an IV saline drip, slow torture. I don't have a problem reading it.
I do have a raconteur on the board. He does not have audio today, so it's going to be you and me. And since you read Phil the Poet, I am going to read this one, and when we make round two, um, you could read his second one if you don't mind.
Okay.
Okay, this is more. And for those, you really need to click on that link because this is the saddest looking owl I ever did see. Its wings are hanging over a branch. It just looks like it gave up. It looks like my teenager, whenever I asked him to do something, it's like, oh. And this poor owl. He looks like he had a day. Anyways, this is more by Raconteur. And it goes like this. I can't claim to understand what it means to be truly sad, contemplating loss of things I never really had. Dwelling on these thoughts are going to drive me stark raving mad. Maybe living with the pain isn't quite so bad. Blurring the line between fact and fiction, the voices in my head debate their conviction, cementing my sanity's dereliction, turning introspection into destructive affliction. So when I was younger, I held on to hope. Now I'm tying a noose at the end of my rope, searching every day for new ways to cope, trying to find clarity in a kaleidoscope. There's a crack in the clouds, hemorrhaging darkness. Swallowing noise while promising catharsis, I find myself drawn to the shadows, comforted by their starkness, seduced by the emptiness at the heart of this. My dreams adorn my cheeks in saline streaks, succumbing to relentless critiques worn on people's faces when they can't be bothered to speak. Leaving me on the outside looking in, unclear where things end and where they begin, watching as your heart lies bleeding on the ground, standing silently by without making a sound. Listening as what remains of your heart defends the one that destroyed you, standing steadfast by their side, regardless of all you've been through, wearing your pain like armor. Your integrity enables you to endure, protecting you from people like me who believe you deserve so much more. And poem. So two things. Trying to find clarity in a kaleidoscope is stunning. Especially since any tiny minuscule movement changes what you're looking at. And when you think you can discern the pattern clearly, it shifts just enough, and now the colors overlap, and now everything is different. And it's the beauty of it. And it is unfortunate in trying to untangle our thoughts to make sense of emotions, because emotions are irrational by design. And then wearing your pain like armor, your integrity enables you to endure, protecting you from people like me who believe you deserve so much more. So that's going to make me cry because exactly that. It's not. So I would be one of those people that I'm like, shut up. you know, I'm like, thanks, but whatever. And I don't mean it to be dismissive to anybody else when they think that I'm more than I believe myself to be. It's just sometimes the nice is hard to believe. You get trained from a young age not to expect, it's not that you don't expect kindness or respect, it's that you don't expect somebody to believe in you. Because when your parents are like, my mother, who was a poet herself, beautiful, beautiful poet, she wrote mostly in Spanish, refused to read me. I'll get to it. I don't feel like it. No. Uh, um, am I that horrible a writer? Thanks. You can't stand the word. It breaks you. And then behind my back, she's telling all her friends, you got to go read her. You got to go read her. You got to go read her. But she would never admit to reading me. And I didn't know that till like a week before she died. And I'm just like, well, that's thank you. I mean, better late than never, I guess. But we're talking decades of the bullshit. And so when you're raised like that, or with the insults, disguised as love, I guess, um, you it's hard to believe the people that believe in you, protecting you from people like me who believe you deserve so much more. Yeah, that's a scary thing. That's something that can't be trusted. Not because the people can't be trusted, but because if you live a life where every time somebody believes in you and then you doubt yourself and they're just like, well, I already told you once, why do I have to keep on telling you? Da, 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 da. Stop fishing for conflict. Oh, I'm sorry I asked you a fucking question, but thanks. And then it feels like a lie because if it was true, they wouldn't treat you like an asshole, you know? So that the ending of this, I'm just really unfortunate. If I mean, seriously, if you have a choice, don't be like me. You know, I think it's that our generation of people, not that uh, it makes me sound like we're some kind of shit. What I'm saying is we raise our kids and our kids raise their kids and whatever to not have to go through the same bullshit that we went through. So if our generation took the hits, the next generation's going to be softer because we're not going to let anybody hit them, you know, because you know what that feels like. And so I've got a great niece. I've got a bunch of great nieces. I'm hoping for a great nephew at some point, but I have all the great nieces, and they are smart and they are beautiful and they are funny and they are all the things. And we all make sure they know they are all the things. Just like my kids and my sister's kids, we made sure they knew they were all the things. Not to the point where they're these conceited, obnoxious people, but with kindness, kind of not that they are better than anybody, but if you're pretty and that's just a truth, it kind of is what it is. Okay, thanks. And you move on. It's not, well, of course, I'm surprised you didn't notice earlier. It's none of that shit, but so that they don't have to doubt when somebody believes in them, so that they have enough belief in themselves that it doesn't matter what other people believe. And I think that that transition is beautiful. But for those of us that didn't grow up that way, that it's a lot, and I might be up my own ass right now. So, Sweet Pea, your thoughts?
Well, first off, I love the rhyme because we all know I'm not very good at it. But the I love the love in this, that you're really trying to give someone who doesn't believe in himself all the all the reasons why, that I'm going to be there to defend you. It's almost like you're the knight in shining armor that they need, that they don't believe they deserve. um, you're going to be their hero. Now I'm trying a noose at the end of my rope, searching every day for new ways to cope, trying to find clarity in a kaleidoscope. That is just wow. Um, Swallowing noise while promising catharsis. I find myself drawn to the shadows, comforted by their starkness, seduced by the emptiness at the heart of this. You see the damsel in distress beyond the damsel in distress. You see the person. You see somebody that is broken, and you don't know why they're broken, or you do know why they're broken, and you're like, there's no reason for you to be broken. You offer them hope. You offer them, a reason not to be in such dismay. And you have some reason to think that they should be protected from you. And I don't quite understand that. When you're the one that's always there, you're the one that's the person behind them. So, I think there's also a sadness to this where you have this belief that you're not the one that they deserve when the bottom line is I think they don't deserve you. So this is probably one of my favorites of yours. And it's absolutely endearing, except for the last part when you don't believe in yourself enough to understand that they deserve more than you.
And Bud is on there and he says, the sadness is when those afflicted are trying to make sense of their despair by not acknowledging how bad they are, even though it shows. And this is true. And it's funny, Rack, because you are the punslinger, because you're our resident comedian. It's easy to laugh and to just make fun of things and not put it out there, because why bring everybody else down? It's its own kind of armor, and I kind of love that about you. I mean, don't listen. I call you on your shit, so you're good. But there's something kind of beautiful about that type of deflection, because it doesn't make anybody feel any kind of overwhelming anything. It kind of lets them off the hook. It kind of protects your privacy, and it doesn't make anybody feel bad. It's also a very lonely place to be if nobody calls you on your shit. You know what I mean? And but even through all that, it doesn't stop you from seeing great in everybody else. And I love the way this does that. I really, really do. Um, it's kind of exactly who you are, by the way, which is kind of fabulous. I'm just saying. So, Sweet Pea, are your poems in the order you want them read?
Yeah, I believe
Okay.
so.
You gonna do announcements?
I mean, do we have to? I guess so.
You don't have to.
I mean, we should. I mean, it's 11:25. It's fine. I forgot nothing. Shut up.
I figured we were doing them at the end of the show. We're good.
I mean, yeah. There's just such
There's
a
a lot
nice
of poetry
flow
to go through.
today.
Don't
There
want do it.
really is.
Do it at the end.
When there's a flow, there's a flow.
Yeah.
Derailing all of our shit. The nerve. Sweet Pea, you are up.
All right. This is Broken Fences. Wooden soldiers tried to stand as their brothers fell to the ground, rotting in moss-covered grounds on uniforms once bright white, stand weather-beaten gray, choking on Vika vine. Scattered and broken, a fence lined, decayed in the darkness. Wild flowers bloomed in reds, blues, and purple shades, warmed by the sun's amber rays. The wind speaks in soft waves. Onyx clouds and thunderclaps find a way to rain on my parade, watching friends weep while I lock myself in a den of worry. Bonfires crackle and laughter rings. I let loneliness ring. In my heartstrings, pondering when I will leave this world. A broken porcelain doll, a piece of shattered glass. Frightened to walk alone, lack the courage to speak up on my own. A wooden fence can be revived with a hammer and nails and blue paint. I'll build a stone walkway and place flower pots along the way. Upon a Parisian seat, I'll drink tea while a mad hatter speaks. And we'll meet you at the back of my fence for a conversation and laugh, if I stay upon this path. End poem.
You know, there is something to be said about a poem that kind of traverses a lifetime. And I'm probably wrong as I am about most things, but it's okay. So we all kind of learn to protect ourselves against whatever it is in life, whether it's obnoxious people in school, whether it's obnoxious people at work, whether it's friends, family, strangers that eyeball you funny because strangers eyeball you funny. I'm just saying. There's something to be said about the fences that we build, and then to have them just trashed and forgotten and broken and wandered through with the devil may care attitude from others, where at times you're not strong enough to hold firm, because a wooden fence may not, it isn't like this giant stone barrier against war. And then to go through life and decide that you're going to take said battered and broken fence and you're going to paint it. You're going to have beautiful flowers and beautiful pots. You're going to fix the path and make it stone so you're not stuck in muddy decisions and whatever it is. And there you will find your friends and you'll have some tea at your favorite memories with your favorite people and find something good out of what was once broken. That is amazing. And it is a testament of strength, or at least the idea of strength, because I don't know how you all are. I tend to pen the strength I want to be before I can talk myself into actually pretending to be that strong. Despite what the world sees, inside is a whole different. I've got a very soft underbelly. I've got a very creamy center, is all I'm going to say. Rack, I said nothing. Shut up. And um, so I this feels like a rebuilding. This feels like, fuck you, I'm still beautiful. And it doesn't yell, it doesn't fight, it doesn't give any more energy to the things that broke it. And it gives all the energy into the rebeautification of self. And I find that to be freaking amazing. So, Raconteur, your thoughts?
You know the opening you gave me. I mean, if getting hammered and nailing you is going to mend your fence, then I want to volunteer. Um, I mean, I can't help it. It's just,
Oh my
but the idea of mending fences, though, it is a beautiful thought. And thinking of it like Pretty Bird chose the phrase of the rebeautification. You know, trying to put something back together like this old house, that kind of working on oneself, working on a relationship, all those things, it doesn't happen on its own, and it requires effort, and that this kind of acknowledges the fact that you know I see a problem, and I'm going to get it fixed, and there's a beauty in it, in that, you're getting whimsical with having tea with the Mad Hatter and all that other stuff. and it's coming full circle into the friendship aspect of it. But there's also the underlying sadness that it fell into disrepair in the first place, and when people care, they try and work on it, and sometimes it's just not enough. Especially if nobody's helping you. So let me get the tools, and I'll get back to you.
Thank you.
I kind of loved that you turned it into Paris, but it's lovely.
Thank you.
So we have Sorbuto on the board. So before I read it, we have this one and rack. And since we agreed that you read the other rack, I'll read this one. If that's fine, you can read this one. Your choice. I'm good either way. So before I go get to reading, Bud, are you available to read yet? I'm going to assume probably not yet, or he would be here.
He's typing.
Afraid not. Okay, fine. I will read you. I tend to prefer people reading their own stuff just because they read it the way it's meant to be reading. Geez, I can't English.
Red.
Yes, before they read it the way the way it's written, the way it's meant to be read, and I kind of read it the way I read it. Not that that's a bad thing, but
He's also got a lovely voice.
this is true. Y'all do. So this is Hearth by Budo, and it goes like this. Glade the warm embers in a blaze of tinder, hardy rooted semblance bubbling vehement in iron cauldron as scented wisps preponder. Glory days of knitted wool and speckled twindle rocking aft, then fro. A look upon the masonry and approached purview, and nigh the coming twilight's pith, come breathing down chamber, stoke the timber smartly, and smite Nord's bellows, for our plinth stands ably strong. I want to know what's on that plinth. I am just saying. There is something to be said because it's usually, for hearth and home. And here's the thing. When you go, what I don't know how. Okay, I don't know why I can't speak today. Usually, I don't have that freaking problem, but it's first time for everything. Um, there is something about walking into your house after a hard day at work or whatever, and it's like the dead of winter, and the house is warm. And it's not just warm because the heat's on, it's warm because maybe it smells like dinner, or maybe it's full of kids' laughter, or maybe it's just the smile that greets you when you walk through the door. And sometimes that's enough to erase whatever bad was in a day, whatever stress decided to weave itself into the fabric of your being, and you walk into that place that feels like home, and you survey the land, so to speak, and you look at that warm fireplace and those who built the fire, and maybe that is the heart of the union. And you have to build it strong, like the foundation of a family. You have to make sure that when people are like, oh, well, the sparks stopped, and no, blow on the bitch, and make it fully flame, you know so light that tinder. It is. I've said it before, and I'll probably say it till the day I die. you know Fairy tales have done us a big disservice when it says, and they live happily ever after. That happily ever after is work, and both parties have to work. They have to make sure they remember the little things that are mentioned, to make sure that, you know, If you see they're having a hard day and they like it when you come up behind them and whisper the sweet nothings, well, then give it to them when they need it or when they don't, because sometimes it still leads to things. And it's not about the things that it leads to, it's about knowing how to assuage fears. It's knowing how, when you hold them long enough, everything fades away and it takes them out of their stress and their pain and into the moment that is all the warmth in the relationship. And it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Stoke the timber smartly. And that's exactly what that is. There's a difference between planning a night of fun and building a life that is full of warmth and love and understanding. I mean, it includes nights of fun, but it's it's the difference between that straw house and the house that broke the wolf. I am just saying, it's a lot, and it's all the little things, all the little things that keep those fires burning, that keep that home warm, that keep that love alive. And people are like, well, we grew apart. Oh, okay, so you can't blame your partner if you allowed that to happen without question. It's a two-party deal, you know? Oh, well, they didn't do enough for me. And what did you do for them? Because people are like, I feel neglected. I feel overlooked. I feel invisible. It's me. I feel invisible, but not always. And less often now than in the past. But if you don't tell them and they don't realize it because they're busy doing some shit trying to keep the lights on and doing all the things, is it their fault for not noticing or is it your fault for not mentioning it? Because the conversation goes both ways. Building a life goes both ways. Loving somebody and being that person's safe space goes both ways. It doesn't work one-sided. And this is all the subtlety of knowing that it's the little things that build that fire. It's the little things that keep it burning. It's not about gasoline. It's about these little dry twigs and those little bits of paper and all the little things that just don't ever let it die. And if y'all have seen fire, it looks like it's out. Next thing you know, it is, taller than you are and it can get away from you. And so long as it's stoked on a regular basis with all the little things, it will be there to keep you warm. And I love that. Glory days of knitted wool, don't speak to me of yarn, mister. You know I have a problem. So, Sweet Pea, your thoughts.
Well, first, I love the imagery, um, the heavy stone and the heavy hearth. Um, it just kind of reminds me of some very cold nights and some very, you know, warm. Rack, I know what you're thinking. Just coming home to the fire. Um, when you live in places that have a lot of snow and you have a fire. I used to have a fireplace in my old house, and it was really nice, especially after a real hard Colorado snow day and the winds going and all of that. And you come home and the fire is lit. It's really really beautiful, and it's warm, and you just get to snuggle up to it, and you have your family, and especially when it's really the power's gone out or something, you have that fireplace and you have your family around you, and it's just there's just something about that warmth and that sense of strength. And you know I wish there's more words. I really don't have words to describe that feeling. um And I've been in those situations where you have no power and you just have that fireplace. And if you've ever done s'mores over a fireplace, it's a lot of fun. If you've ever done popcorn over a fireplace, again, there's just something about that that sense of family. Um, I don't think, there's a lot of fireplaces in Florida, or, where you're wrapped in blankets in front of the fireplace or other places, but there's something about it. And when you talk about it, its strength and the strength of the base, and it's kind of like talking about the base of the home, because a lot of houses, especially way back in the day, and they were built starting with the fireplace, and it goes from there. And the strength of the house is in the fireplace, and the strength of the family, and all of that. And I like how you kind of put a little Greek mythology in there with Nord's billows. I thought that was very cute. And I learned the new word cliff, or however you say it, about the
Plinth.
essence of something. So I didn't know what that was, so I had to look that up. And I always love it when I learn something new. Um, but I really, really enjoyed all of this. And anytime you use the word cauldron in a poem, I'm immediately interested. So it just left me with a sense of warmth and strength and family. So it was really cool. And Raconteur, your thoughts?
Yeah, I really enjoyed this, but the idea of the fireplace takes me back. It's nostalgic in the sense of, the kitchen is the heart of the home. And, when you go back to the old, architecture, the kitchen, what was the hearth, the hearth, listen to me, who can't talk now? The kitchen, the hearth was the center of the kitchen, and that's where they hung the cauldron and all the other stuff. So the idea of this is very, very centered on that idea of where the warmth is, and what builds the comfort and whatnot. And this is just very, very welcoming and beautiful, as far as nurturing and all the emotions that are kind of piled on for me. I really enjoy it.
Awesome. See, even without music, you're amazing. So I have me back up on the board. And funny enough, I actually did put the poem that I wrote for Titus up in my list. Didn't know that I did that. Um, so this is I Look for You in Words Unspoken and Still Can't Find My Voice. By me, Pretty Bird. Just the warning, I might lose my shit. Here we go. You were poetic oxygen when I didn't notice I had stopped breathing on my own. A boost of competence, undoubted, turned joyous in mere existence, and nothing slowly turned into everything. A final breath, and mine is stolen as wings turn to stone in an instant. I got good at not needing. Then you held me up in silence, and I believed the ground was solid. It was only solid enough to crash through. Now there's nothing left to stand on. I search for meaning in the silent interstices, and in those spaces between a thought and a voice, I look at couplets and quatrains, searching for more and landing what I cannot touch, but feel so deeply. I needed trust, and you were there, quietly by my side, understanding my silence through parallel truths. I stumbled through, but you never let me fall, even though I never realized you softened my world. Those hard edges are piercing the veil in your absence, and it's all I can see. Searching for the unspoken reality of shared time in those hours that were too few. I learned so much. Still, I look for you in words unspoken, and still can't find my voice. End poem.
I honestly don't even know how to comment on this. it is so heartfelt and so personal to such a beautiful relationship and for such a important friend in your life, someone that was always so supportive and someone that was so beautiful and someone that made our world, the pretty sweet world, so special. And that is such a small drop compared to how he made your world. One of the greatest lines I think in here is um, I stumbled through, but you never let me fall, even though I never realized you softened my world. And, I know how my heart is broken. I can't even imagine how yours is shattered. And it speaks so highly of him. It's absolutely beautiful.
Indeed.
Right. Your thoughts.
It's not even fair to try and comment on something like this. The last line that you bookend, I feel I look for you in words unspoken, and still can't find my voice. I mean that says so much about his absence and his presence at the same time, and how he touched all of us and you specifically. It's just it's a beautiful piece, and um, you know, I yeah, he will be missed, but he won't be forgotten.
That's for sure. It's funny. I was thinking earlier when I was talking about how some people just don't get poetry and some people fall into it. I know so many people are like, it's boring. How many love poems can you write? Oh, love is this and love is that, yada, yada, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, let me introduce you to Titus. He's got 4,000 poems that are all different, all wonderful, and all different facets of a love so strong, so deep, and so true that it'll make you cry, even if you don't want anybody to see. It is what it is. And but I kind of worry about the emotional, um, not necessarily maturity, but the emotional deficit of somebody that finds affirmative words on a loving whatever to be boring or stupid or now okay, all right, listen.
John Lennon.
Mediocrity is the death of all good things, okay? And so if people have been reading, you know, so words that don't tap in, because it's not an easy thing to let everybody into your deepest thoughts, good or bad. It's not an easy thing. It's naked. It's fully vulnerable. It's out there for the entire world, and the world is an unkind place. So if you've been reading some mediocre poetry, um, try again, because if love is boring, if pain is mundane, maybe you're afraid of who you are and what you're feeling, because emotion is weakness. It is not, you know, pushing through, understanding, and building yourself into something that is stronger for having felt that pain. That's what success looks like. That's what strength looks like. That's what growth looks like. So if you can't face any of that, if everything that you see that has anything to do with emotions is boring or a waste of time, it says nothing about the art and everything about where you might need a little assistance in growth. I am just saying, now I get poetry is not for everyone. Just like I am not a Jackson Pollock fan. I cannot with the splotches. but I do appreciate art, some specific, some in general. So you- if you can't find beauty in the written word at all, like ever, I think that that is an internal conversation that you might want to have with yourself as to why emotions scare you. Because the only people that I know either don't do words because sometimes the brain mixes the things up and words aren't their strong suit, therefore they don't fall into that and they are exempt from this theory. Um, but those who can and choose not to are a problem. I'll take my partner. He does not poetry, but he will take 3 hours to find a card that says exactly what he wants to say to me, that mimics it enough that he will give it to me. And I understand it's because he can't come up with the words himself. But he will spend 3 hours reading all of these things to find something that helps him express himself. And to me, that counts. And it's not because of any deficit of emotional maturity. It's because words aren't always easy, but he still appreciates them when somebody else says them, when he reads somebody else's stuff, you know? And so you don't have to be a poet to appreciate the words or the sentiment. You don't even have to like sonnets because Lord knows I fucking don't. Titus is my exception, but I don't. I don't like them. I don't like writing them. They are everything that is both right and wrong with poetry. I have a thing. But maybe Bukowski, you know? Maybe something that matches maybe okay, who is it that Sky says I remind her of that all of a sudden I can't remember?
Sylvia Plath.
Thank you. Which it's I am way flattered and I don't think so, but I am way flattered. There are different factions of writing that and different factions of art and different types of music that it just speaks to some people and doesn't speak to others. But if it speaks to you at all, it's a beautiful thing. I'm just saying. I do have
So,
Raconteur on the board, so it'll probably be the last one we get in. Well, there is no limit. We're gonna since we can't have everybody get two and not you, sweet. So we're gonna run like 10 minutes long. So are you ready to read Rack?
Yes, there are still Romans and countrymen. When your eyes are ready to tear and you're in need of a friend, you will always have my ear, gently comforting you till you mend. Moments melt into memories, chatting with no concept of time, till you find your soul at ease, causing the unknown to unwind. Having found your smile and van- van-
Vanquished.
vanquished.
thank you, your distress, you can dream about me for a while as you wrestle with feelings you can't suppress. Even though my arms remain empty, my heart swells with hope. Then I watch as you forget me, and I'm the one struggling to cope and hope.
So I've got some words. Okay, because my brain. So I'm just gonna apologize in advance. There is something cheeky about that you can dream about me for a while as you wrestle with feelings you can't suppress. And I kind of I kind of love that, you know, because you have this way of getting people, like you extricate. Okay, so I constantly use the term I've got my head in my ass, and he is very good at extricating said head from the anus. I am just saying. And he will sidetrack you and he will just go around the houses just until he finds that smile, which is a beautiful way to be. But with this, with having found your smile and vanquished your distress, Yeah, you can dream about me for a while as you wrestle with feelings you can't suppress, which I kind of love. But when you have that right on top of that last verse, where I'm still empty and my heart is still swollen, hoping that this friendship will last or this will grow into something different or whatever the case may be, whatever that hope looks like, then I watch as you forget me. And now I'm the one struggling to cope. And ain't that the way? This is why sometimes people suck. We've all been on both sides of this equation at some point in our life, where you help somebody through the worst time of their life, you help them through their distress, you help them through their pain. You're there, you're there, you're there, you're there. And the second you're like, I've had a day, they're like, gotta go. And then you don't hear from them again until the next crisis, if even then. Or you help somebody through a breakup and all the things, you see them at their worst, and you don't judge them and you love them anyway, and you basically just just build them up so that they can fall on the next idiot who doesn't pay attention. And it sucks. It absolutely sucks. I do my best, and I'm sure I listen, my existence hurts people, so I know I've hurt a lot of people, but I've never done it on purpose. I have never done it on purpose since I was 11 years old. And I've told that story before. We're not telling it tonight. And so I'm sure that there are people that I thought were just friends that, if you're going to ask me questions and I'm actually in a chatty mood, are you sure you want to know? Because I'll tell you, I will say all the things. If I think I can trust you, I will say all the things. If you keep on asking me questions, I will say all the things. That doesn't mean that I love you. Now, that's not what this is. I'm just saying, as both sides of that equation, sometimes you just need a friend. Now, I like to say, I would like to think in my memory that those friends are still friends, that I still talk to them. I have, even if it's just a sense of obligation, I don't know how to be like, oh, are you sad? I don't have time for your shit. If they help me through something, that is full on shitty, you know? I'm like, listen, I'm busy right now. I am going to carve out from this time. You have the whole night. Tell me all your things. But if I can't do it at that moment, I will make time to do it. And because how do you not? How do you let somebody be there, hold you up, and then not give them the time of day? That is god awful. So all the cute, cheeky flirtiness of that verse, which I love, placed on top of the one that is empty and not even a fuck you, just a forgotten, just they get used to leaning on you because you're always there until you're not. But that's they only need you when they're broken. And that kind of punctuates that hollow emptiness. And now I'm the one struggling to cope in the darkness alone. And it is a hard place to be. And I think that this kind of folds, each verse is a completely different scene or a completely different chapter in a book where, I'm going to be there for you. And now you talk for hours and it's just all of this stuff. And then you're, laughing and you're flirty, and because it happens, whatever. And then they feel better and now they're gone. And I mean, there are worse ways to use somebody, I guess, but it sucks. you know? It's just, it's not okay. And it breaks my heart. So, Sweet Pea, your thoughts?
What a bitch.
I mean, true.
I'm just saying. I mean, I don't get this. You're in need of a friend. Okay, whatever. But then you start the flirting, and you start the smiling, and you start all that crap. And then you're just going to walk away. Why?
Because she's all healed up.
I'm just saying. You can't do that to people. It's wrong. You can't. I don't know.
You know, it's worse when they don't do it on purpose. It's just how they are. An afterthought. It doesn't matter. Like it was nothing. you
Right.
know?
So wrong. There's kindness and there's cruelty, and this is just cruel. Kindness is, hey, thank you for being there for me. I have found someone else. I've fallen in love. I've done this. I can't imagine, us not being friends. I'll call you once in a while. I'll check in on you. Something. You just don't walk away. You don't say, oh, well, hey, thanks. Thanks a lot, man. You were great. Or you just don't disappear. You just don't do that. Things are crazy. Oh, yeah, all I see is you always being there and she being a bitch, and I'm sorry you're struggling. That kind of thing. A hurt locker, that damn hurt locker. I don't know what to do with it. It breaks me every single time. I'm
Every
sorry,
single time.
all the time. Just breaks me.
And Buddha says devastating. That's exactly what that is,
Mm.
because it guts you and it comes at you sideways because you think that the friendship has evolved into something close knit, and then it's an afterthought. Oh, I feel better. It's like they are suffering from heat stroke and you're the Gatorade, and now they're like, whoo, I'm good, and they go back to whatever. It is not okay. I am just saying. But Sweet Pea, you have two left. Which one would you like to read?
Um, the second one I put on the board.
Okay.
Mm,
All right. Whenever you're ready.
okay. Let's see. Okay, it's not on my board, so hold on. Let me go grab it.
Did you refresh?
I did refresh. Let me refresh again. Oh, there it is. Yeah, I had to refresh a second. All right. A woman vanished. Crimson rainbow colors dance in aqueous bubbles, float in hues of twilight amber sky, carrying the giggles of neophytes into rolling clouds, bubbles of crystallized teardrops from a woman floating into the mist. Backwoods wild child reputation, run from the hate inside self-destruction. Twisted in religious muck, misguided toddler, eyes veiled in mystical fog, searching for cover. Teetering on the edge of Earth's crust, the woman won't walk in his line. She chokes in the smoke, brown eyes tinted with crimson, the day she awakes and finds the door. Condemned and punished, left destitute, for no crime crawled on knees through the thickets, swam in the bogs with the snakes and the frogs, gagged on the vapors of the smog and survived. Reddish hues of trees and their gnarled branches, dressed in uniforms of green, formed a canopy, blocking the rays of burning memories. Silence and a rolling mist welcomed her, and a woman vanished in peace.
You know, it's one thing to be lost inside yourself. It's another thing to be lost out in the open, you know? And my brain went sideways because you brought frogs in here. I'm just
I'm
saying.
sorry. I'm
Like
so
snakes
sorry.
and frogs. And I'm just like, and God, when the bakers of the smog and the snakes and the frogs survived, which I find very interesting because those are things that are, more associated with not good things. They are the slimiest of people. But here it is. I blend in with the surrounding nature. I blend in and I'm lost in the mist where out of sight is out of mind. And is it a tree? I can't see it anymore anyway, so it doesn't matter. And did you ever really exist? And if it's okay, and this is where it gets me, but this is just where my mind goes. If I disappeared and you didn't notice, then you get treated like, how dare you make me notice when you were fine with being disappeared? I liked you better that way, you know? because there's no pressure, there's no nothing, there's no guilt, there's no, if you are in there inside yourself and the people around you, whether they're parents, whether they're family, whether they're their relationships, whether they're friends, if they let you disappear and they don't notice, you're just there to be useful for some things and then just put back on the shelf like you don't really exist, like you're Pinocchio and you're not a real boy. It is a problem, but it's those snakes and frogs that do it. It's never Bambi. And then we do it to ourselves. We learn that being effervescent and bubbly and seen gets you yelled at, belittled, insulted. And so when you shrink and you disappear, then they don't have to think about anything but themselves, those selfish little bastards. And they like it better that way, because if they don't notice, I mean, sometimes it takes a hot minute to notice, because we all get hyper focused on different things, and we do work, so I'm not upset if, we're not always the center of attention, because life. But if they don't ever notice, and then when you bring it to their attention, well, why are you overreacting again with it? You're so sensitive. And, well, why didn't you say something before? And no, you didn't notice. That's not on me, you asshole. And you get comfortable in the cold, damp fog. You get used to being unseen, because it means that you don't get to notice a whole lot of them anymore either. So it hurts less. It numbs the emotional noise. There's a certain comfort in the things that don't let you down, and that doesn't let you down. It's an unfortunate truth. So, Raconteur, your thoughts?
I mean, this has me spinning in different directions. It's one thing, when someone doesn't notice you, and I mean they treat you like you don't exist. They're two different things, but at the same time, one kind of leads to the other. It's stressing. I mean, you do this all the time when you write about just kind of being cast aside, unnoticed, forgotten. And I don't know. It tears me apart in different ways, and I just I'm gonna go back to hammers and nails again. I don't know what to do with you anymore. I just
Well, I think it goes to the same part of you that wrote that poem, that first one, where where you're the one that notices and sees all the good things. Like, it kind of, it's befuddling, because what kind of assy situation or person or people or whatever it is going to let somebody feel so small, make somebody feel so small, beat somebody into submission, whether it is metaphorically or literally,
oh
and then allow them to stay there. Like, you're an asshole for doing it to begin with. But if you're supposed to care about these people, how do they allow you to stay underfoot? Like, what kind of a shitheel? You know what I mean? It's an
yeah.
awful place to be. It's an awful thing to crawl out of, because nothing feels safe but that mist. It's safer here. It's quiet. They can't hurt me if they don't notice, if they can't see me. And it is a hard place to be. It's a hard place to dig out of. But when you do, you kind of put down pavers and turn it into Paris. I am just saying.
That's right.
So now that is our last poem, and it was fabulous, fabulous, fabulous. So let's do announcements. So what is coming up on Thursday?
What is coming up on Thursday? Oh, Thursday is
When's
is the ninth.
The ninth, I know. It is the shape of us. Love rewires our brains by releasing oxytocin, uh, lowering physical stress. It can help us live longer or maybe shorter. It can be a bitter pill to swallow. Ultimately, love acts as both a mirror or a medicine. How has love shaped you?
And then on the 10th, which is Friday, it is a pretty sweet story time. Now, we have these once a month, usually on the second Friday, sometimes not so much. And this is a free for all conversation. Everybody is welcome to join in. We will be posting the link to join us live on all of the platforms. This is Cruel Summer. So, summer love, no school, daily adventures with friends. Summer can be amazing. Unfortunately, it can also be cruel. Sweltering heat, boredom, and bad decisions can make for interesting stories. Everyone is welcome to call in and tell their stories of a cruel summer. So, I am waiting to hear all the things because I am a nosy bitch and I want all the info. So, everybody's welcome to join us on Friday for Pretty Sweet Story Time.
That's right.
And then on Tuesday, I was going to wait. I'm like, and you're next. No, that's still me. Okay, so on Tuesday, it is negative self talk. So, negative self talk can feel heavy, chaotic, can feel like a heavy, chaotic load to carry. It's crazy how crushing and overwhelming those internal critical thoughts can feel. Pushing through is difficult, but we can find a new way to process without beating ourselves down.
And then
And
the
that, go ahead.
was going to say, and then the following Thursday, it's flash fiction, write a story, have fun, alien life forms. Intelligent life isn't always easy to come by, but we can't be alone in the unknowns of the universe. Do you believe in alien abduction? What if the Earth is just tourist destination for extraterrestrials? Let your imagination run wild in 500 words or less. I love flash fiction night. So,
Yes.
debut.
So that is what is coming up, and we hope that you will join us. We are live on Facebook, YouTube, and X/Twitter. I can't with the X; it always sounds like porn to me. My bad. And so you can listen to us live there every Tuesday and Thursday. So my brain just completely it just keeps buffering today. I'm glitching out. So you can listen to us wherever you listen to your podcast: Spotify, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, all the places. Just type in Pretty Sweet, PRTTY Sweet, all one word. Click on the red shoes and listen to hundreds upon hundreds of hours of us talking about all the things using all the grown-up words. If you want our total archive, you can find us at prettysweet.podbean.com. And that is every show we have ever published. So, delve into all the distractions. We had a fabulous time tonight, and we hope that you did too. If you did
Did
not,
not.
you can fuck all the
Fuck
way
all the
off.
way off.
Good night, everyone.